I did not know that tipping on a wedding dress was a thing until last week, so let's chat about it. I'm gonna set the scene first so you understand some context. Basically, I went to this wedding dress store 2 times. The first time I went, I tried on like 6 to 8 dresses, and I paid for that appointment. It was around $50, and the stylist I was working with was so sweet. In that appointment, I found a dress I really liked and kind of remained my top runner for quite a few weeks. The stylist at that appointment did email me quite a few times just asking how my wedding dress shopping was going and asking if I wanted to come back in. Once my mom's travel plans were locked in, I did email her asking her for an appointment on a pretty specific day and time. The stylist responded saying that she wasn't going to be in on the day that I requested, and she asked me to come in on a different day at a different time. To which I had to be like, I'm really sorry, but I need to come in on that day. It's the only day that works for my mom and I. So I just went on their website and booked a say yes appointment. Because at this point, we had decided I was going to say yes to the dress. So I was very excited for this appointment, and I was excited for my mom to see it in person as well. This appointment, since my mom was only going to be going to one of my wedding dress appointments, I wanted to make sure it was nice. So I tried to book one that had Prosecco and was still like somewhat of a full experience. So when I arrived to the second appointment, I did ask the new stylist if I could try on 4 dresses total. Well, I don't know, I did 8, but 4 dresses total, one being the one that I knew I wanted to get, and then 3 others that were different styles so that my mom could see me in a couple different styles as well. The stylist I was working with at the second appointment was very nice, but honestly, the appointment itself felt a little awkward. I was under the impression that because I booked a say yes appointment, that the stylist knew that I was going to be saying yes to the dress, but that was not the case at all. I was also under the impression that we were getting Prosecco with the appointment because I read the package and it said you got Prosecco, but I didn't know like the terms of that where you only get Prosecco once you've said yes. So at one point I flat out asked if we could get Prosecco because I wanted my mom to have that experience, and she was like, once you say yes. And at this point, I was like, oh, I think we can say yes. Like, I'm going to go with this dress. Then the weird part was, while payment was happening on one side of the room, I get a sheet of paper basically asking for a tip percentage on top of the price of the full dress. To put it in perspective, if you're buying a $4,000 dress, a 20% tip would be $800. I literally was like blank staring at the sheet, being like, what am I supposed to do with this? Also so awkward because the stylist is literally in the room with us while this payment is happening. So I had no privacy to ask my family what they wanted to do with a tip. And I guess I'll just add it in. Like, I wasn't paying for my dress myself. So I was like, to ask for an extra like 20% on top of the dress is actually craziness. So if anything, I would have paid the tip, but I was like, I don't understand how this warrants a tip. I also fully would have thought the stylists got commission. Maybe they do, and maybe this is like extra on top of the commission. So I left the sheet blank and I handed it back to her, and it was the first time in my life I've ever no tipped. And honestly, I felt really icky about it. So honestly, I'm just curious from other brides if you've had a similar experience. And I'm also curious for bridal stylists, like what the norm is here. Also, I'm kind of wondering if it's case dependent. Like maybe some brides come into the same store 5+ times and see the same stylist, and maybe that warrants a tip a bit more. So I would love to hear your thoughts, or